many times have you said, I'll just do it myself, it's faster? Not because you love doing it, but because explaining it, delegating it, or trusting someone else to handle it feels like more work than just getting it done yourself. And if you're being really honest, it's not just about speed. It's because you don't trust that it will be done the way you would do it.
So you step in, you take it back, you redo it, you clean it up, you make sure it meets the standard. And on the outside, it looks like you're just being efficient, responsible, maybe even helpful. But internally, something else is happening. You're quietly becoming the bottleneck for everything in your life and your business. And the hardest part, it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like it is the only option. Most people would look at this and say, you just need to let go of control. But that's actually not what's happening here. This isn't about wanting to control everything. It's about you carrying a standard that you don't see consistently met anywhere else. You've built your ability to follow through, to think ahead, to care about the details, and to take ownership seriously. So when something matters, your brain doesn't ask, who could do this? It asks, who can do this well? And the answer it keeps coming back to is you.
And that's why this feels so different than advice you've probably heard before. Because you're not stepping in out of ego, you're stepping in out of responsibility. You're not trying to control the outcome because you want credit, you're trying to control it because you don't want things to fall apart. And there's a big difference between needing control and not seeing another option you trust. And when those two things get confused, you end up feeling misunderstood and stuck. This pattern doesn't start overnight. It builds over time. You step in once because something wasn't done well. Then again because it was easier. Then again because you already knew how. And eventually, without even realizing it, you become the default. Not because anyone assigned it to you, but because you consistently proved that you could handle it. And when you're the one who always handles it, people stop questioning whether they should step in. And you stop questioning whether you should step back.
And here's where it gets tricky. Every time you take something back, you reinforce two beliefs at the same time. First, you confirm to yourself that you're the only one who can do it right. But second, you unintentionally confirm to everyone else that they don't need to step it up because you've got it handled. So the gap gets wider, your standard stays high, but no one else gets the reps to meet it. And over time, what starts as capability turns into isolation. Because now it's not that just that you're doing everything, it's that you feel like you have to. If you're a hustler, this shows up as speed. You move fast, you execute quickly, and you don't hesitate to jump in when something needs to get done. But because you can do things faster than you can explain them, you default to doing instead of delegating. And over time, your efficiency becomes the very thing that keeps you overloaded. You're not overwhelmed because you're slow. You're overwhelmed because you're too effective at taking things on.
If you're an overplanner, it shows up as standards. You've thought through every detail, every step, every possible outcome. So when someone else approaches it differently, it doesn't just feel different, it feels wrong. Not because they're incapable, but because they're not following the systems you've already built in your head. So instead of letting it play out, you step in early, you adjust, you refine, and once again, you become the one responsible for making sure it's done right.
And if you're an avoider, this shows up as delayed delegation. You know you shouldn't be doing everything, but the thought of handing it off feels overwhelming. It feels unclear, messy, and like something that will create more problems before it solves any of them. So you put it off and you wait until it's urgent. And then instead of delegating, you just do it yourself because now it's faster.
The cost of this isn't just that you're busy. It's that everything in your world becomes dependent on you. Progress slows down not because things aren't happening, but because everything has to go through you first. And that creates a very specific kind of pressure, the kind where you can't step away without things stalling, the kind where even rest feels risky, because you know what's waiting when you come back.
And eventually, this starts to affect how you see yourself. You don't just believe that you're capable, you believe that you're required, that things worked because you're holding them together. And while that might feel true in the short term, it's also what keeps you stuck doing everything in the long term. Because if everything depends on you, nothing can grow beyond you. So here's the shift. And again, it's not what most people expect. The goal is not to lower your standards. You don't need to care less, expect less, or settle for work that doesn't meet the mark. The goal is to stop expecting other people to meet your standard without giving them the opportunity to build toward it. Because no one starts where you are. You didn't either.
And that's the part that requires real intention. Letting someone else do something imperfectly isn't failure. It's training. It's how capability is built. It's how ownership is developed, and it's how you stop being the only person everything depends on. But that only happens if you're willing to step back long enough for someone else to step in. Not forever and not for everything, but enough to create space that didn't exist before. So here's what I want you to do this week. Not everything, just one thing. Pick one task you're currently holding on to, not because you love it, but because you don't trust anyone else to do it the way you would. And instead of taking it back, walk someone through it. Let it be slower, let it be imperfect, and let it feel a little uncomfortable.
Because that discomfort is the exact signal that something is changing. It means you're not defaulting to doing. It means you're starting to actually lead. And leadership doesn't look like doing everything right. It looks like creating an environment where things can be done well without always depending on you. Because here's what most type A women realize when they finally stop stepping in every time something isn't perfect. They were never the only one who could do it right.
They were just the only one who never gave anyone else the chance to learn how.
And if that's something you're working through right now, make sure you're subscribed, because this is exactly what we're unpacking here.
And if you haven't watched the last video about why you're carrying too much, start there, because this is the next layer of that conversation.
We'll see you in the next one.